Hello everybody, Larry back with you again, and for 2 days now we have had some heavy rain here in North Alabama, and it has really delayed the work that we've been doing on the sawmill shed. The rain has let up at this time and the sun seems to be trying to come out, but we've still got a lot of rain around the sawmill shed where I was going to be doing some work today, and I'll turn it around just to let you get an idea of the water that's still there. Is still some rain falling, just a slow drizzle, but what we would be working on is getting some of the lath work up on the rafters and doing a little bit of work here on the end of the sawmill shed. What I think I'm going to be faced with is going ahead and taking down all of my temporary coverings that I've got up, these tarps, and go ahead and just cover the sawmill itself back up so that I can come out and do some work as the weather permits. But hopefully here in a few minutes, if the rain does continue to hold off, I might be able to get a little bit of the work done yet today on the sawmill shed. So there you have it. Build continues on the sawmill shed, facing some rain delays along the way, but hopefully here in just a few minutes, let's get started. Come on, join us, folks. Well, folks, what I'm having to do is to shoot video between rain showers. It's been off and on all afternoon. It was heavy this morning, then it quit and the sun came out, and as you can see, the sun is out at the present time, but according to the radar, it should be raining here again in any minute. So what I've decided to do in order to really be able to accomplish some progress on the sawmill shed, I'm going to go ahead and take the coverings off as I mentioned earlier. I'll cover back up the sawmill itself. While this is so inconvenient to take the tarp off the sawmill every time I get ready to use it, I believe it's about the only way that I'm going to be able to get some progress done on the shed. I need to be able to come out and work when I can, and so it's very time consuming to take the tarp off and then put it back on after I get through. So I'm going to get started and get this get the sawmill itself tarped over again, and then take the tarp off the shed itself. I had a lot of the slabs and even some of the bark off of the old pines that I milled out for the rafters, and all of that material, debris, was kind of scattered around the sawmill area, and so I decided I'd go ahead and try to move some of that out, get it out of the way, so that if I move my ladders around, or if I brought Little John back up to use to kind of as a scaffold, I would be able to maneuver around without having all that debris in the way. So I'll go ahead and get that up and get it out of the way before I get started on everything else. The ground was still pretty wet from all the rain that we'd had over the past day and a half, but this area here has been packed down to the point that it really wasn't all that muddy. There was some water standing, and you can see here in front of this area where the bark was, and then even the slabs, there was still some water standing. So but even with with all the rain that we had, it was manageable. Just wasn't muddy enough to really make it difficult to get this bark up and to clean up as I needed to. Also, because the sawmill is in plain view of the back deck of our house, and if we have visitors in that area, I just try to clean up as I go along to keep the bark and any of the slabs from just piling up. I just don't want it to kind of look like a sawmill area, because the sawmill for me is more of a hobby. It's not a business, so I just try to keep it clean as I go along. What I'm doing here is to attempt to locate the centermost part of the mill that I possibly can. I was kind of hoping that the facer would be able to fall on one of the rafters right in the middle, and as it turned out, the rafters, or that is the fascia that I have, the pieces that I was using for the front fascia on the front, was not quite long enough, so I've had to end up piecing it in the middle. But it's going to turn out and look pretty good, I think, whenever I get that section up in the middle. Working by yourself, you learn how to kind of improvise things, and when you are needing someone to hold something on one end so you can lift the other end up, you kind of improvise. And so what I'm doing here is to kind of create a little bracket that I can use on the rafter, and I'll put the fascia up on one end of the bracket and then raise the other one up in place, and then I'll be able to screw them in place. Or that is, I'll be able to screw the fascia in place and not have to really worry about trying to hold the whole thing up by myself. This is the first section of the fascia that I'm about to put up now, and toward the end of this video the battery went out on my GoPro and I wasn't able to continue to get this view of putting the first section of the fascia into place and setting it on the bracket, so I had to resort here to the Canon camera, and not quite what I wanted to show you, but still maybe you can get the idea of what was taking place here. Each section of the fascia board was just a little under 13 feet long, and I wanted to leave 1 foot of hangover on both ends of the sawmill shed, so I wasn't able to butt each section of the fascia together. What I'm going to do in the middle is to cut a section, kind of make it a little bit decorative on the end, and use it to cover up the portion in the middle where the two sections of fascia do not meet. And I'll make it long enough that I can screw it into some of the existing rafters, and I think it'll look pretty nice whenever I get finished up with it and get that section on in the middle. I might just also mention here that the fascia extends above the rafters just about the width of my lath that I'll be putting down, about 1.5 inches, so it should flush out, look pretty nice, and be able to seat the metal right down on it. In this shot you can clearly see the space that I had left between the two sections of fascia board. This will be where I put the little section that I'm going to use and make it a little decorative on the end to cover up this space. Well, there you have it, folks. I think we'll wrap up this video for today. In between rain showers, kind of scattered on what we accomplished today, but did get the fascia board up, got the tarp off the top of the shed, so now we can come out here and just do the work that we need to do and not have to worry about moving the tarp around. Did get the sawmill covered back up, so if it rains, no problem there. But I want to thank you for joining us for this video today. Please be sure to give us a thumbs up if you like the video, share it with a friend, leave a comment down below, and as always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Until next time, folks, this is Larry. Have a great one. See you then. Bye-bye.